Well, I think we're going to get started. I think some people might be dropping in as we get going, and then again, feel free to use that Q&A. What do you think? You ready, Nicole?
I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. So welcome everybody to Tools for Humanity. This is a live stream conversation that I've been hosting for the last couple weeks, and it's really just to feature some people who I hold near and dear to my heart that I think are amazing with the work they do in the world, and they're all wellness experts, Nicole being one of them tonight, and you'll learn more about her in a second. But if you haven't tuned in previously, there's a few previous episodes that you can watch on my YouTube channel, like I mentioned, which is just, you can Google Amy Patee and you'll be able to come across my YouTube channel and watch the other episodes, which are with other amazing people that are in kind of the wellness arena, and they have some really wonderful tools to share with you and insight for these times that we're in, which are really kind of uncertain times. And so I think that's all I want to say about the Tools for Humanity and what that is. Also, I'll just say you are muted, but you can communicate through the Q&A. Feel free to ask questions throughout the broadcast, and if Nicole is able to, maybe she'll answer those questions either, as you write them down, or at the end of the broadcast too. We can take some time to answer questions. And yeah, and just thanks for being here. There are a couple more interviews that are going to be happening. I'm not sure how long these are going to be going for. They were kind of like a thing for now. But there are a couple more coming too, so you can check those out on my website. And all of that information will be when I send you the email tomorrow. You'll get all of that information. So, ta-da! We're going to move on, and I'm going to introduce Nicole Nardone. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself and about what she does and what she's bringing to the world right now. So take it away, Nicole.
All right. Hello, everybody. So this is one of the challenges of Zoom, is like not to look at you, but to look at the camera. So
Look at the camera. I know, but
yeah,
it's okay. We're all living in this virtual world right now, so you can look wherever you want,
yeah. So okay, what do I do? So I've been teaching, holding space for over 10 years now. Um, and I do that via retreats and private sessions and in-person classes and virtually as well. And I do this mostly using, I have a deep passion for some of these like ancient technologies. So many people, some of you know me as a yoga teacher, so I teach Kundalini yoga. I've also had a lot of experience in various healing arts, so anything from herbal medicine, like Western herbal medicine, to Thai body work, and different energy healing techniques, shamanic techniques. I also grew up with a background connecting me to earth medicine, so earth medicine and sort of earth like shamanic techniques that, for alignment. So magic essentially with the natural world. So that's like deep in my bones. So I love to combine sort of these Eastern practices of yoga and more recently Tantra. This has been a tool that I've used for many, many years, but Tantra and specifically sexuality, so work with sexuality. So I really am interested in currently embodying and holding space for the wild feminine. And that means in women and in men. And what that means is holding space for that to rise through our bodies, through the culture, through our world. And so I use a number of techniques for that, but it's really about like living from the soul, and also integrating sexuality and spirituality, which are these two sort of areas that have felt really like there's a fissure, right? And a lot of these ancient spiritual traditions don't allow for both. It's like one or the other, right? And so this is something I'm really interested in right now. So yeah, so that's kind of like what I do. And so right now I'm doing a lot online, of course, as the rest of the world is, but I also have some retreats in the future planned. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hardly in a nutshell. be more like maybe a coconut shell if it was
Yeah.
going to be a shell. Can you say just a little bit more before we move on? What is the wild feminine?
Yeah. So, to me, the feminine, because many of our spiritual traditions have felt really masculine and very sort of, about like transcending the body. Like the body is, it's great, it's fine, let's take care of it. But, liberation and sort of this connection that we're seeking is really about leaving the body behind. And so to me, the wild feminine is about fully inhabiting this body and this incarnation. And that can mean through through yoga, through these practices, and also through pleasure, and through play, and through connecting to the earth. So to me, the wild feminine, I think it's very linked to Kundalini for me. I do feel that the Kundalini of the earth is really rising. It's waking up and it's moving through all of us at the same time, right? And so as the Kundalini moves, it animates us. And this is the wild feminine. This is like, how are we taking care of the earth? How are we taking care of the planet? How are we taking care of our bodies? How are we, and when that energy, when the wild feminine comes, it's also this sort of, and I'm going to speak to this later today too, but it's also this unknown, it's kind of, it's wild. It's kind of just, we don't know what's going to happen. And so this is something I'm really passionate about because I see this as simultaneous with this sort of like awakening that is happening right now, and sort of these veils being pulled off. So that feminine, now, as I said, it can look different in everyone, right? Some people, it might bring them into this state of just peace, or it might bring them more into love, or it might bring them into their voice, like suddenly they're singing, or it just hits everyone differently. But it's essentially that true nature, and it's really claiming the feminine, these qualities of the feminine that have been a bit repressed, and the pendulum is, I see, sort of like swinging the other way finally. So I'm really holding space for that and embodying that as much as I can, and holding space for that to blossom in others, men and women and all genders, right? Anyone that identifies with beyond gender. So it's really something that I see happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And I also see it happening, well, I could roll into what we're gonna talk about, but I just see it happening in the world right now, as the Kundalini, as this sort of wild feminine force moves through our bodies, she's gonna kind of like illuminate whatever isn't working, like
Mhm.
whatever's not in alignment with truth, love, with this sort of like next evolution of the world of consciousness. And that can be a scary thing, if we're not sort of prepared. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for elaborating. And I'm going to ask you another question just because I'm curious. And if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can pass. I'll give you one pass. Um, so, what is the opposite of the wild feminine? Like,
Mm.
I mean, and obviously I'm kind of referring to the male, but like, what's the opposite of that?
Mm.
Because I think we're coming from a place of like, um, a masculine feminine imbalance, and then the masculine has been maybe expressing in some forms, in some ways, in an unhealthy or imbalanced way. And so is there an opposite to the wild feminine that you could speak to, just to give us like kind of the whole picture? Yeah.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. So yeah, that's a good you ask good questions, Amy. So what I see as the opposite of the wild feminine is the unhealthy masculine. Because I do see, well, the wild feminine could also incorporate unhealthy feminine as well. Because there's unhealthy feminine and healthy feminine. But the what I see as the opposite is this sort of kind of repressed masculine, and so this is the masculine that strangles out the life force energy of the planet, right? This is the masculine that's killing the planet with these giant buildings and raping the earth of its resources, and also the parts of us. I certainly have these patterns in myself, and I think we all do, that are sort of dominant and overly aggressive, and these patterns that keep us sort of constricted and small and have us thinking we have to do things one certain way. And you see it, and the image that I get is these like giant buildings. Not that there's anything wrong with cities and buildings, it's all wonderful, civilization's great, but it's just as an archetype, it's like these giant buildings and these like hierarchies and sort of structures that have been in place for a long time that repress some and give a lot of resources, money, whatever it is, to a chosen few. So this is what I see as sort of this dominator oppressed kind of model of the world. And so the healthy version of this would be, like the healthy version of the masculine would be something that can hold space. And again, we all have this too, right? There's sort of healthy structures, sustainable structures, like I think of the spine, even like a
Mm.
nice healthy supple spine is like that healthy version. Like the unhealthy would be sort of like a spine that's like constricted and probably holding a lot of stress in it, and kind of contorting this like natural energy that wants to move through this sort of bliss, right? So yeah, does that answer the question? Yeah, yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's unhealthy feminine and healthy in or what we might say like in this dualistic world. There's like healthy expressions of the wild feminine. There's might be some unhealthy expressions of the wild feminine. And then
Mm,
there's the opposite of that is the masculine. There's some fluidity between those two, and in between those two. And then the masculine has like there's what's been expressing
mm,
in a lot of ways on the planet right now and over the last however many years maybe has been more of the unhealthy masculine
mm,
from what I'm hearing you say, and that there is a healthy version of the masculine or a balanced version of the masculine that really is like kind of it's like having a backbone, like a strong healthy backbone that allows you to like hold yourself up and maybe even hold up systems and
mm,
societies and cultures from a space of like holding space for
mm,
people to thrive.
absolutely.
And we have these both inside of us and we're kind of looking for integration, but what needs to happen right now is kind of that wild feminine has to be nurtured a bit more because it's been so
Yeah.
repressed.
Right, the pendulum has to swing the other way. This comes from like, well, it comes from this morning. I was listening to Starhawk, but and many women talk about, or humans talk about this, is that the pendulum is swung so far in one direction. It's like we do have to sort of pull it back the other way sometimes. Not that the feminine is better than the masculine. Not that the wild feminine is better than anything. It's just that we do need that as a balance point
Mm,
sometimes, absolutely, because this is what I see in so many people, is that we're starved of this, and
mm,
it's so reflected back to us in how we treat even just the natural world in their
mm,
own bodies. So
mm,
yeah.
mm, mm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's a good segue into the next question, about the kind of the pandemic and what we're experiencing right now on the planet,
Mm,
which if you look deep enough or far enough back like into it, maybe there you can apply these kind of ways of perceiving like masculine, feminine, and like how that's played a role in like what's unfolded on our planet,
mm,
and depending on which theory, perspective, conspiracy theory that you're paying attention to.
mm,
But can you speak a little bit to the pandemic and mostly just in relationship to you and like how you're doing with it and where you're as a wellness practitioner, somebody who's wellness spiritually a spiritual practitioner, where are you focusing
mm.
your energy and how are you
Yeah.
how is this pandemic kind of like what's it pulling out of you and maybe even inspiring you to either share or
Mm,
bring forth more.
mhm. Yeah. So Yeah, this is a big question because there's so many things. But what I want to speak to today, I think, is this is along these themes of the feminine and wild. I think sometimes we think of wild as like running naked through the woods screaming, which sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. And so what I have been feeling for myself is just this, yeah, the structures are, it's like suddenly we're, the veil has dropped and the like jig is up, and we realize that the things that we have perceived to be safe, kept us secure, kept us, from the unknown, are, well, for many of us, not there anymore in one way or another. It's like our routine drops away, or our income drops away. For a lot of people, this is a life or death situation. For many, it's not. So for myself, it's not, right? So I have my needs met. I have a certain amount of privilege. Like I can, function. So I have this sort of like capacity to think about these things in a more spiritual way. Um, but what I see and what I'm witnessing in myself is like, these, it's like we're confronted with the unknown. It's like suddenly we are acutely aware that we don't know anything. We don't know what's coming. We are like swimming in a soup of uncertainty. It's like, who could have seen this coming? Okay, maybe some, like, people that study viruses did, um, but the rest of us didn't. And so, we're so aware, and this is the feminine. The feminine is it's sort of this black void. It's this absolute darkness. It's the mystery, right? And so, and when this happens, we cling to something that might be familiar, or we try to anyway. And so what I'm feeling in myself is suddenly I have this opportunity to let some of those structures go. It's like this portal has opened, and I can really like just like all these, even a lot of my work, like personally, a lot of my work is dropping away of things that, and this has been happening for a while now, is like work that um, was serving me at one point isn't anymore, and actually isn't serving anyone else either. And so this is where I'm sort of focusing my attention. Well, for the purposes of today, one of the places is how to support that, like how to confront the reality that we just don't know. There's a lot that's unknown, and how can we, in that space, because there's like a tendency to go a little crazy, right? We can just kind of go, or we can fall into addiction, we can fall into despair, we can fall into depression, we can fall into anxiety, and all of these. There's a lot of spaces we can go with that. But then where is that? Where is the healthy masculine? Where is that space, the backbone, like you said, right? Like, where is that space in myself? Where is the space of safety, of security in me that can carry me through this? Like, as the structures fall, as we sort of swim through this collectively, how can I find a space of knowing in myself, even if I'm not gonna know. And the other piece too is, and the practice I want to share later is around the mystery, because even when your eyes are closed in the dark, I mean, there are ways to navigate that. There are other senses. It's like, even though we can't see what's ahead of us, really, we don't know what's going to happen in this country or in the world. There are other senses that can like step forth and guide us, right? And this is where like the yogic tools can be really interesting, to sort of move us into these spaces that we need to
Mm-hmm.
be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, and I just think that's the thing that's really interesting too, because like mystery and the unknown can be super exciting. I mean, people. I think everybody could probably come up with some mystery in their life that excites them. Whether
Mm.
it's like, what's this? What's in this birthday present? it's wrapped up. I don't know what's inside of it. Like, what's in this? You know, like it's a mystery. And there's some excitement about that. Like, it's
Mm,
gonna be good, you know,
mm.
but then like the mystery of like, what's gonna happen tomorrow? Is there gonna be toilet paper that I need, need to buy at the grocery store? Am I gonna get laid off my job? Like, those are obviously like much different than like a wrapped up present, but it would be interesting to have a skill set or have like the skill to be like, oh, I'm in mystery right now, or I'm in a space of uncertainty,
Mm.
and how do I navigate that? And like you said, like, you know, in the middle of the night, if the lights are out and like, let's say the electricity goes out, like I will find my way to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like
Your
I will,
bladder will guide you.
you
Yeah.
know, hopefully there's toilet paper there. I know I'm making some, these jokes are not meant to like, and if anybody doesn't have toilet paper right now, I apologize because I'm not trying to make a joke about it in a
Yeah.
mean way. But yeah, so it is interesting to be like kind of like normalize the mystery a little bit too. Like
Yeah.
this is part of being a human. This is part of being
Yeah.
having wild feminine and
Mm.
healthy masculine inside of you. Like their mystery is part of this whole thing. But on a global level, maybe we haven't had to step into it to this degree. Personally, possibly for many of us, like we've explored it, but
Mm.
this is like a whole nother thing. And I think I just speaking to what you've shared, but like for me, I know personally, it's like, oh, yeah, it's just made it more pronounced. And I already knew this and felt it to some degree, but more pronounced. Like at any given day, any given moment, something can happen that is going to leave me completely like awestruck and like, whoa,
Yeah.
like at any given moment, whether it's a loved one dies or like there's an accident or you lose your job. I mean, like surprise, like life surprises you. But
Mm.
this is on such a global level that I think it's a little bit more profound in how it's impacting us and how we're all having to like pause and like take pause and really check it out and
Yeah.
kind of embody it on a whole nother level. So I love that you're bringing it up for conversation tonight, even just speaking to this mystery and speaking to this kind of unknown space.
Yeah, I want to speak to that. Like, I like this point, and I wanted to. The Tracy is like, I'm excited for the positive spin, so I want to like loop
Mhm.
that around because yes, there is so much beauty in the mystery. Like all of these ancient cultures and like a lot of these earth-based cultures. I mean, this is the cave. This is the void. This is the womb of the world. This is the mystery. This is like I mean, it's scary because you can't see anything, but only because we're conditioned to want to see everything and know
Yeah.
everything. We find, a lot of security in that, which is very valid. But this void is like the birthplace of everything.
Hmm.
And in the Taoist philosophies, it's like this is yin, right? So it's this deep rest. It's this space of the deep reset. It's the place where we go into, it's said that like, if all the songs in the world disappear, I mean, if we kill everything, it's said that if all the grandmothers go into the caves and pray, that we can dream it all back in a night. So there's like such a fertility in this mystery,
Hmm.
and I know I'm feeling that deeply. It's like suddenly this sort of universe has ripped open, and there's like this material that if we're quiet enough, it's like these incredible ideas, like massive amounts of creativity can come from this, right? Necessity is the mother of invention. Like there's so much potential in this
Yeah.
in the mystery. Yeah, yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super exciting. And also, there's I want to say this is coming to me, just a baby in the womb, that's growing, you know, trusts, I would say inherently trusts that dark space of the womb,
Mm,
even if it's uncomfortable, even if there's constriction, it's
mm,
growing so big and it's pushing, or there's even like uncomfortable like emotions coming in from the mother or whatever it might be, the outer environment. But the baby has like this inherent trust in that kind of like dark unknown space
mm.
and doesn't like question it. And of course it's a baby, but I don't know, that's just like coming through for me too, this idea of like that there is, if we can dive in deep enough, there is the potential of inherent trust in the mystery and inherent trust in, you know, like the baby and the mother know how to give birth. Granted, there are situations when it doesn't happen naturally all the
Mm,
time. You know, just like all of nature, sometimes things go awry and like it doesn't happen in a seamless flow. But there is something to say about inherent trust and like where do you find that inherent trust? And I think it's just naturally programmed into us. Like we can lean into the mystery, we can lean into um, the universe, we can lean
mm,
into the earth, and if you lean back far enough and your backbone's there and stuff, you like realize like, oh, I can trust this. It's uncomfortable. I have to be a little uncomfortable. Maybe I'm going to be scared, but I can trust this because something, there's a flow, there's a magic that's work right now, at play right
mm,
now, and it's going to sort things out. I
mm.
don't know where the river's going to dump me, but when I get there, chances are like it's where I'm supposed to be. Like there's some kind of in here this trust in something like bigger, this force bigger than us that's guiding things. Do you want
Mm,
to say anything about that?
yeah, just yum. And yeah, I feel that too, right? There's this, I mean, and just to that Tao, just to give a like a sort of ancient philosophy about it, it's like the yin energy, and that's what we're talking. This is the feminine, this is that deep, it is this deep trust in the dark. If we go far enough into that, like if we let ourselves soften far enough into that and let ourselves just totally be held, there's always it always becomes yang again. Like yin, if we go far enough into the yin, it always becomes yang. Like there's always a birth that comes from it. If we genuinely, not if we're like, well, I'll only surrender and only trust if whatever the thing is, right? But if we genuinely feel in like, yeah, in the bones in the body, it's like there's always a birth that comes. There's always, something that comes from it. We don't know what it's going to be. Might
Mm-hmm.
not be what we want it to be, but it'll be what we need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
I love it.
mhm,
Love it, love it, love it. So tell us about the practice that you think we could
mm.
benefit from right now. What practice do you want to share with us?
Yeah, this is a Kundalini yoga meditation that I want to share, and it's called Yoni Kriya. And it does a few things. So one, as like I talked about, so there's these yogic bodies in Kundalini, and one of them, there's 10 of them, but the ninth body is called the subtle body, and it's the first body that um, goes on living after we die, after we shed this human form. The subtle body will continue on. And there's also this quality of the subtle body that can navigate the mystery, that has the phrase is sort of mastery over the mystery. And when everyone has a subtle body, but it's just how strong is it? And the subtle body, when it's strong, um, it's not necessarily that you see consciously the changes that are coming or what's going to happen, but we could use the word luck, but we end up in the right place at the right time. We sort of feel the changes coming before they're here, and we sort of position ourselves accordingly so that whatever's coming, the changes that are going to arrive inevitably, they're convenient for us. And so the subtle body sort of gives us that. And so this meditation is for the subtle body, but it's also, and I mean, I love Kundalini because it always works on the nervous system, and all of us are experiencing just a lot of pressure on the nervous system. The nervous system's heightened. So this is really good. Don't do this if you have to like go to a meeting or have a big test or something, because it'll kind of put you in a sort of soft state. But the other thing that it does is it combines sort of the masculine and feminine, so in equal parts. So, it's called Yoni Kriya. Yoni is the Sanskrit word for vagina, and it's sort of the cave of Kundalini. So it's this like cave of that feminine force, right? And so we sort of there is a way to enter the cave. This is a meditation to sort of go into that cave, and it's that cave of like timelessness. And the mudra that we're going to use is like you're going to put your hands like this, both your hands. I can't really do it with my, oh yeah, I can. Right. So
Hard.
I know it's hard, isn't it? Well, don't worry. So you're going to do that, and then you're going to put the pinkies together and the thumbs. And then you want to keep those so the palms are apart. It's just the thumbs and the pinkies that touch.
Okay.
You're going to hold this down at your kind of, the thumbs can be right at the heart level. Can't really see my hands, but and then the pinkies should be right about at the level of your belly button. Um, Now this mudra, so you've got, this is like the male organ, right? And then this is the cave, right? Here's the cave of Kundalini, right? But this is like past, present, and future. So this meditation and the breath that we're gonna do with it sort of allows you to enter into this space of timelessness, sort of into that cave, and allows you to sort of gently soften into it. Um, and yeah, and I'm also going to guide you through sort of activating the root a little bit, getting us set on the planet, getting us grounded, and we'll do just a little mantra just because it's nice to chant. It's good for our nervous system. So yeah, we ready? Should we do it?
Okay. Let me, can I just quick see if somebody has a question?
Yeah.
Oh, this is such a beautiful analogy, Amy. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, no questions. Just wanted to make sure that we were still happening here. So yeah, let's do this. I'm super excited about this practice.
Okay, so we're gonna first, I want us to chant, and the mantra, the mantra is Ong, O-N-G, and this mantra, it means, it sort of refers to the creative aspect of the universe. So it's that creative consciousness, like in form. And so when we chant Ong, it also activates the root, so it connects us down to where we meet the earth, so the perineum or the cervix. So we get to sort of anchor into that part of our body that connects to the planet. And so we'll do that first. All right. So you can actually just have your hand. You can have your hands wherever you like. It could be on your knees or on your thighs, or you could bring the palms into prayer pose at the heart. You could rub your hands a bit. And then press the thumbs into the sternum and the palms into each other. And let the eyes close. And take a moment to feel your spine. So feeling your strong back. And so letting the tailbone reach down, maybe towards the center of the earth, and the crown of the head reaching up to the stars. So the roots sort of plugging you into the earth, and crown meeting the vast sky above. And the spine is nice and long. So here we have this strong back. As you lengthen, let the front of the body be soft. Let the belly be soft, the front of the heart soft. And then bring your awareness to your root. So whether it's the very base of the tailbone or the perineum, maybe even the cervix if you have one. We're going to chant this word Om, and if you don't know it, you can pretend you do and make some noises that sound like it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And as you do that, you're going to feel that sound sort of vibrate both your brain and your root at the same time. So take a deep inhale all the way down to your root. Exhale fully. And take a deep breath in all the way down to your root, and then hold the breath in briefly. And exhale. And we'll inhale to chant 3 times. Inhale deep, 2 more. All the way down to the root. One more. Take a deep breath in. Suspend the breath in. And exhale, relax those arms down, release the breath, and just keep your eyes closed and just notice how you feel. All right. So we are going to dive into our practice. We'll see how this goes. And typically we do it for 11 minutes. We're not going to do it for 11 minutes, but you can if you want. So bring your hands into this mudra. So the ring, the middle, and the index finger together. They're like married, right? Glued together. Same with both hands. And then you're going to bring the pads of the pinkies and the pads of the thumbs to touch, right? And you don't want to let those fingers touch. So keep them apart as much as you can. Keep the palms apart. And you're going to hold this right at the level of your solar plexus. So, and the pinkies are stretching down towards the belly button. And then the thumbs are either, it depends, at the heart or right at the base of the ribs. So holding this comfortably, just letting the elbows relax into the sides, letting the shoulders soften away from the ears. And you're going to have your eyes open just a little bit, like 1/10 of the way open, and you're going to stare at the tip of your nose, right? So the eyes sort of like go cross slightly. And this is actually going to, it activates the primal brain, like the subconscious, the unconscious, and allows it to actually sort of unload. So it's like dumping anything you're holding into the void, right? So the eyes are down. If it hurts your eyes, soften, relax. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we have a breath. So the breath is like you're gonna round the lips like you're whistling, like you're about to whistle, and you're gonna exhale through the mouth, and then you're gonna inhale through the mouth, so through those lips. And then you're going to close the mouth and exhale through the nose. And then inhale through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth, through the lips. And inhale through the lips. And exhale through the nose. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the lips. And continuing that breath at your own pace. One complete breath through the nose, one complete breath through the lips. Eyes are down at the tip of your nose. And letting the breath get more and more extended. The inhales and exhales taking up more and more space. Letting it be like a kiss. Letting the breath be like a kiss. Really gentle, really soft. And letting the skull soften, the scalp soften. And let yourself enter that cave, if only for a moment. And wherever you are, take a deep inhale and just briefly suspend the breath in. Exhale, gently release the mudra and the breath. Keep the eyes closed or close them all the way now. And just let yourself savor this cave. As you're ready, Gently blink the eyes back open, very slowly coming out of the cave. So this space of the cave is also in this meditation in particular. That space it sends you into because it's the subtle body into this space beyond space and time. So it can, and if you do it for 11 minutes, you set your timer or whatever. Um, it does become this place where you can just like shed karmas. The yogis say so. This is like a karma shedding meditation as well. So any of the, and karma being like a habitual pattern in your psyche and your consciousness that you just keep turning over and over. So this is a beautiful meditation for that to happen really gently. You just go sit in the cave for a while. That's nice. Yeah. How was that for everyone? I'm curious.
I'm yawning.
You're yawning. Yeah, it's good to do at night. Yeah, so
I'm like, okay, I'm getting
mm,
very relaxed in my cave cubby. If anybody wants to share how they're feeling, maybe you can leave a little comment about that.
mm-hmm.
I just have to keep yawning. It is
Go
getting,
sleep.
it could be getting
Mm,
close to bedtime for some of us.
mm.
Um,
Good bedtime. Sort of blissed out. Yeah,
mhm.
exactly. The yogis call it the great body experience. So it sort of sends you into this place of like the great body, meaning, yeah, it's the subtle body. It's that part of our soul that's just eternal, and it's a blissful place to be. So yeah, that makes sense.
I was in a cave with water, swimming in the water.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yummy. As far as the nose, so you looked up and said, "That's okay. That's fine." They didn't want to look down. I mean, don't push it. So it's just a different place. So up is going to be a little bit more like sort of transcendent a bit, but it's also putting pressure on the pituitary gland, so it's sort of activating this sort of focus. The tip of the nose is a bit more, it's harder, it takes we typically find some of these easier than others. So just give it a try, but don't force it, I would say. It's fine.
Mhm, mhm. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it brings so much positivity to this time of mystery.
Mhm. Yes.
Mhm. Yes, I agree.
Mm.
I agree. Yeah. And I just think of that piece of trusting the mystery. Go sit in the cave, see what happens. And there is it's not a complete unknown uh, in the sense that we have thousands and thousands of years of people going and sitting in caves for this purpose of enlightenment or to tap into to be in the mystery, like purposely going and sitting in the cave to be in the mystery or sitting underneath the tree or whatever it is. But um, I think that if you're on this call or if you're watching this video afterwards as a replay, um, like this isn't it is the mystery, and it's also not uncharted territory. People have been doing this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and these practices have come from people that have lived the mystery, that have dived into the mystery and experienced it. um, so
Mm.
it kind of makes me want to just jump off the cliff.
Mm.
you know
Yes.
on the other side, I don't know, not like in a positive way, but
Yeah. Yeah. We've got some
Trish
Q&A.
says, thank you. Julie says, I love the idea of this time being a time of mystery and that it is of value to explore that space and trust in our hearts versus in fear or anxiousness.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hi, Julie. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Um,
Hmm.
so I'm in that kind of chilled out space. That was a beautiful practice. I love that practice. And do you recommend? So you recommend we do that about 11 minutes would be like kind of an awesome time frame to experience it.
Yeah, so Kundalini Yoga recommends like we did about 3 minutes, and 3 minutes starts to adjust like your lungs and your bloodstream, so it kind of adjusts something, and then the 11 minutes starts to actually affect the nervous system a little bit more and the auric field as well. So yeah, so 11, I mean, but anywhere in there is fine. You can do it longer than 11 minutes. You could do
Mhm.
2.5 hours if you wanted to. Gotta be in the cave for a long time. And you can do it as a daily practice too. So that's absolutely perfect to do as a daily practice. Yeah. And especially at night, though, I would definitely say because it can, especially if you do it for 11 minutes, it can leave you kind of spacey,
Mhm.
so you don't want to you don't want to do it in the morning before you
Yeah.
go to work.
Yeah. I just can't figure out how to sign into my email. um, all right. So if you are on the call live, if you have any questions or any last comments to share with us, please feel free to type those in. Otherwise, we are going to probably start to wrap this up soon, but I'm wondering if there's anything else that you want to add, Nicole, or any last words of wisdom that you want to leave people with tonight.
Mm. Well, I keep saying this to people because I'm just experiencing such a wide range of like people's experiences with all of this, and that whatever you're feeling is okay. Like there's so much, even just like you should be doing this with this time, and it just feels like a lot of pressure in so many ways. So just I find it to be really powerful to just honor, like maybe the mystery freaks you out, and that's okay too. That's a perfect place to be. But also just want to acknowledge that, yeah, that this cave is an incredibly fertile place, and I think this is a really important moment for us to really, well, those of us that are finding ourselves in quarantine, self-isolated, maybe alone or sort of alone, that can be a really powerful time to really, just like the meditation, it's like when we open that void, there's so much that we can shed, and to trust too that it's happening no matter what. It's like the process, because of like this collective pause, this collective stillness, like, just like you were saying, this child, like you can trust that the process, like a baby isn't trying to become a full grown human, it's happening. Like it's just going to happen no matter what. And so there is an element of that. And, working with it consciously can be super exciting, but just to trust that the process is at work, and it's a really exciting process. And that's part of being in the cave is we just can't see. I love this. Like, why not swim around in the water? Like, bathe in the water. So that can be really, really powerful. And I like to actually at night, in my cave in my room, is just actually imagine like the goddess like wrapping around me, the great mother, like it is kind of like being in a womb, like just imagine, like bringing awareness to that, can be like a beautiful comfort as well. But just to encourage, like, picking out like what are those nuggets of the mystery, that are yours, because we each have such a unique sort of piece in the web too. And I'm finding personally, this is just personal, like, so much creativity from this place, like so much is pouring through, and maybe that's not happening for you. Maybe you're more of in a space of trust, but that, to trust whatever those nuggets of creativity might be coming through as well from this like deeply feminine sort of mystery. Super juicy. Yeah, and thank you, Amy, for having me. This has been
Yeah.
a pleasure.
Thank you for sharing so generously tonight with all of us and giving us your insight and um, Again, if you're on the call or if you're watching the replay of this, Nicole's information will be below the video somewhere. So you can go to her website and see what she's got going on. I know you have a class coming, a special full moon class coming up. What's the date
Mhm.
on that one for people just if they
Uh,
want to log it?
yeah, it's May 6th. So I just had a new moon class. We had a new moon last night, and so this will be the full moon. So it's a full moon in Scorpio. It's May 6th. It's a Wednesday, I believe.
So that will be a live stream class. So if you want to experience, like, you got a little taste of her meditation tonight, but if you want to experience like a bigger, larger opportunity to just be with her and kind of dive in a little further, you can check out that online class. That will be really awesome. And that's kind of, she's offering those kind of continuously. So there's lots of options for those. But all right, let me just check and make sure there's no other questions going on. Amy just says, thank you. Yeah, thank you all that tuned in, signed up. Thank you to all the people watching the replay for being here. And Nicole, thanks again just for sharing your energy tonight and your wisdom around the feminine and the masculine and the great mystery and the unknown. It's just amazing and awesome. I'm definitely, I feel like my voice even dropped an octave from that meditation. Like I'm a little bit more like, I'm more down here. I think I was like up here a little bit before. Now I'm like
Yeah.
down. So that's good. Good.
For the cave, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and thank you all so much.
All right, and there's, so you can just sign off whenever you're ready. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of thank yous coming in. Yes. All right, everybody. Well, have a beautiful night. And again, thanks for joining us for this Tools for Humanity. Check out the upcoming sessions. There's one on Sunday at 4 p.m. And yeah, hopefully we can potentially see you in person sometime not too far down the road. All right, thanks everyone. I'm going to end this meeting. Have a beautiful night.